Hello guys and welcome back to another Fan Factory Friday episode, and today we are finally checking out Imachicken's game. I'll admit that this has been a long time coming as this is an update 2 save, but it is definitely worth checking out for the sheer power it has under its belt. Now, the last time I tried to get into this game, it was 9 months ago, and my PC immediately died. But we're here now with optimizations in-game, and we've managed it. But very much with the thanks to medium graphics and also downgrading the resolution to 720p. So if there is a slight difference in the quality, that is why. But anyway, before we jump in, don't forget to like the video if you enjoy it, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Anyway, let's get into it. First off, leaving the hub, we notice the train stations. These stations are hugely important to this map, as the theme they set the map on was that the majority of the resources should be transported by train, and you're going to see that they use a system of phases to transport everything throughout the map. And this was no doubt a huge undertaking by Imachicken, TBNRegs and Gargona, with them clocking up 300 hours in-game on this save. However, man hours is probably much higher. We're looking at least 600 hours, as they rarely played with less than 2 people. And when it came to the end production of the map, it became so laggy and they dropped so many frames that in the end the host wasn't able to do anything. So that, without doubt, is dedication to the cause, and it certainly paid off. With over 200 trains, they're able to bring almost all the items directly to the factories on demand. Now, with the theme set, they had one goal. The goal was to produce the most power possible, setting the record for the first factory to produce 1.05 terawatts of power. And once they did that, they only went ahead and decided to see how much they could run at the same time in order to ruin the game it out style, building enough power plants in the end to actually produce 4.45 terawatts. But we'll be going into that later. So at this point, if we jump up to a higher viewpoint, we can see just how much work has gone into the logistics using trains. I find if we reactivate the fog at this point, we get the best view of the rails because the white is a great contrast to the rails themselves. Now, I know that you guys want to see the power generated in-game, but before we get there, let's quickly cover the factories and the manufacturers. Although I do have to stress, this is an update 2 save, so it won't work now. Now immediately we can see dozens of rows of beautifully uniformed smelters, followed by assemblers creating the quick wire, then stators onto becoming electromagnetic control rods with the use of high-speed connectors. I think at this point, you can see where we'll be going with this build if you haven't realized it yet. Today we're looking at Update 2's record-breaking nuclear power production using 100% of the uranium on the map. Now I'm just going to put a disclaimer before we get any further into the video. I know I don't say nuclear right. Please forgive me, I am trying, but I do forget. So with control rods out the way, we next have 3 other key ingredients to look over: uranium pellets, beacons, and finally crystal oscillators. So let's head over to the oscillator factory, which is just over here in what we can now appreciate as the dune area. And for optimum efficiency, they decided to produce the oscillators using the rubber insulated alternate recipe. Looking over this huge production, I think a key component is the uniformed approach to building everything. It's very industrial, and certainly at times it's very beautiful, but primarily it has a function, being the most efficient and easiest to build on a mass scale. I should also point out another key feature of this factory, which we mentioned earlier, is the use of phases or tiers. The train stations are arranged so that you can work out immediately what part of the ingredients list you're working on to go on to become the uranium fuel cells. Splitting it up into individual stages stops the factories becoming a jumbled mess or getting out of control. And it certainly shows here just how useful this organization is. And it's managed to streamline the production. It's a really good system to work by, especially if you're working on your own megabase. Now, returning to the factory that produces the nuclear fuel unit, we also have the production of the beacons, which are produced on demand, and we have the encased uranium cells as well, all which are merged together to create the maximum amount of nuclear fuel rods per minute, which at the time was 84, which coincidentally goes on to fuel the 480 nuclear power plants. And this was all placed by hand. Like I said, no creative mods. So this mound of nuclear plants is a pretty amazing feat of engineering. Definitely satisfactory. But that's not everything. Oh no, that is just the 1.05 terawatts of energy produced. What about the other 3.4 terawatts I mentioned earlier? Well, not just setting the record for the power plant, they decided to set a new goal, produce so much power that it kills the game. Oh yes, they gamed it out big time, placing another 1,294 nuclear power plants, and then storing enough nuclear rods to run all of these at once, producing a groundbreaking total of 4.45 terawatts of power. If we gain a bit of distance here, you can see how massive this power plant is, and it still doesn't do the map justice. So let's check out Satisfactory Calculator. Here you can see the sheer size of the plant alone, covering a huge part of the top left-hand corner of the map. Turn on the radiation counter and you can see each of the 3 uranium mines, as well as the stations, and more importantly, the waste disposal, which is a total of 125 industrial containers stacked with room for expansion if need be. Now, obviously, when you're building a factory this size, you go through a huge amount of resources, and the way they approached this was to build a very long supply train called service train, and it really is useful being able to store all your items that you're going to need for building these massive factories nearby so that you can very quickly grab what you need and keep working. Even better yet, using a train like this is that you can quickly go back to the base where everything is and grab everything else you need before coming back. So, whilst we take a few shots of the factory, to sum up, this was a truly colossal undertaking which Imachicken, TBNRegs and Gargona were certainly up to. Between them, they poured hundreds of man-hours in and were able to create something as stunning as this. Anyway guys, we will draw it to a close here. Special thanks goes out to the game team having created this incredible map, and also for their patience with me not being able to create the video for this 6 months whilst I was abroad, and also while the game wasn't optimized enough for my PC to handle it. So guys, please do show them some love by clicking the thumbs up on this video if you liked it, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Now, I am also going to endeavor to put this save file available for you to download should you wish on our website when it's released. So do keep an eye out for satisfactorytips.com coming soon-ish. Well, it'll probably be out on a Tuesday. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, as always, ciao for now.